All right, good Monday evening, everybody. We've got some brand new information into the Storm Team 12 Weather Lab, and that is that a tornado watch has just been issued for west central Mississippi and some counties a little bit farther to the south. That's really an extension of the tornado watch that was or is already in effect off to the west of us over central Louisiana. That stays in effect until 1 a.m. The extension farther to the east into Mississippi, that's going to be in effect until 6 a.m. So there's going to be a threat of severe weather during the entirety of the overnight hours through daybreak on your Tuesday. Very important that you have a way to receive weather warnings during the overnight hours. You need multiple ways to get warnings to ensure that you get the warning. Of course, we want you to download the WJTV weather app. You can get those weather warnings there on your smart device. Also, our news app is where you would watch our live streaming coverage if we have to cover tornadoes. Hopefully we won't, but in case we do, that's what you need to have downloaded. Also, if you have a NOAA weather radio before you go to bed tonight, turn it on so it will sound if a warning is issued for your area. Hopefully you've got a program to go off for your county. So there's a look at the outline of the tornado watch. All the purple shaded counties are in the watch, but what a watch means is that conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms that can spin up tornadoes in and close to the watch area. So, for instance, the reason I'm saying that is if you live in Macomb, you're not in the watch area, but you're close to it. If you live in Yazoo City, you're not in the watch area, but you're close to it. So you need to be on guard as well. Obviously, if you're in the watch, well, you need to be on the lookout for severe weather tonight. And areas in the watch include the Metro, Vicksburg, all the way down to Natchez, and Brookhaven, and all the way down to Monticello and Prentiss. So here is what's happening. You see that squall line of thunderstorms back off to the west of us? Right now, we're not actually seeing any severe weather along the line, but we likely will in the coming hours. And there has been some severe weather associated with this earlier today over parts of Texas and Louisiana. We've seen several severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings, and even a couple of tornado warnings. So everything is on the table tonight as far as severe weather is concerned. Even flash flooding, because while I don't think that's going to be an issue, let's say Jackson and points south, it may be in the Delta because it's raining or has been raining in the Delta for actually much of the day. The afternoon, this evening, it's been pouring there, and it looks like that's going to continue over the next several hours. So another important thing to look out here for is the position of this warm front. If the warm front passes through our area, and I think that is going to happen over the next couple of hours, that's going to put us in the warm sector of this frontal system. That's the area between the cold front and the warm front, and that's the most dangerous place to be. And notice where we have the tornado watches, pretty much in the warm sector of the frontal system, which is now mostly over Louisiana, but as everything shifts to the east tonight, I think a bigger portion of central and south Mississippi is actually going to get in this warm sector, and that's why we're going to have the threat of severe weather. So taking a look at our current conditions in Jackson, it is late November. It shouldn't be this way. It is cloudy, it is breezy, it is warm for late November, and it's kind of getting muggy out there too as those dew points are surging across our area. In fact, take a look at our dew point temperatures, and you can see the difference. On the north side of the warm front, dew points are still in the 50s, 55 in Columbus, 56 in Meridian, but then you go farther west. Look at Vicksburg and Natchez and Hattiesburg, dew points in the upper 60s right now, and those numbers will likely continue to rise in the Jackson area as well. So basically, this makes the atmosphere more unstable. So not a good situation to be in. The area of low pressure is also pretty close to us, and that's going to provide some forcing, some lift, some vorticity in the air, so that is likely going to produce those thunderstorms that can produce very strong winds and possibly even spin up tornadoes. All right, so here's a look at Live IMAX 12, and we do have rain beginning to come into our western counties. Now, the rain that we've seen so far not been severe, and I actually don't think what's moving through Vicksburg right now is going to be severe, even though the rain is very heavy and we're getting some lightning strikes, some rumbles of thunder out there. It's the line a little bit farther back off to the west. Now, if this were in the middle of the day, I'd be a little bit more concerned about discrete cells developing out ahead of the main line, but we're working into the overnight hours. So I don't think that's going to be quite as much of an issue. We can't totally let our guard down, but I really do think it's going to be the main line that we're going to have to be worried about as we get into the overnight hours tonight. And it's mainly going to be the farther west you live, in the Delta, in our river counties, especially as we get closer to midnight and a little bit thereafter. All right, zooming into the Vicksburg area, we got the rain developing right along the Mississippi River. Don't see anything too alarming with that just yet, but farther back off to the west, from the Sabine Pass area of Texas back up through, let's say, north central Louisiana, back up towards Monroe, that's where we've got the squall line that is likely, I think, to produce severe weather during the overnight. So this is our in-house model, weather model, showing us when we think the storms are going to arrive. So this is looking into the future as we get into the overnight. Unfortunately, this is going to be a slow process. Now, this model is telling us that most of the bad weather is still going to be northwest of the Big Black River by 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's, again, still mainly our Delta counties, taking most of the overnight to transition farther east into, let's say, the metro and parts of the Pine Belt. Actually, this is after daybreak on your Tuesday. So we're going to be under the gun certainly during the overnight, but it's certainly a possibility that the tornado watch could be extended in time and farther east even tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. In fact, during the heating of the day tomorrow, as the actual cold front is moving through, I think we will see some redevelopment of storms right along the front. That's going to be mostly south and east of Jackson and east of I-55, but even those storms tomorrow during the heating of the day could be severe. And I don't think it's going to be over in the Pine Belt until about the time the sun goes down Tuesday afternoon. Now, once we get into Tuesday night, yes, it's over. Skies are going to clear and temperatures will turn colder, and you're definitely going to notice the difference by the following day on Wednesday. But we got to get through the storms first, and this is what we're looking at. It's going to come in a couple of waves tonight and then tomorrow afternoon. The first wave, there is, for most of us, going to be a level 2 out of 5, slight risk of severe weather. Again, all modes of severe weather are a possibility. The most likely scenario is that we're going to get damaging straight line winds. Severe thunderstorms, storms that are severe, have winds of 58 miles per hour or better. So usually when we get a severe thunderstorm warning, the narrative around it is usually 60 mile per hour winds or better. So that's what we're looking at. When you get the wind that strong, that certainly can produce damage. It can break tree limbs, can knock trees down, it can do some damage. So that's what we're looking at as far as the damaging straight line winds. But there could also be large hail, quarter in size, which is about an inch in diameter or a little bit bigger, and obviously tornadoes. That's going to be a threat. Now notice everything shifts farther to the east tomorrow, and I think this is mostly going to be in the afternoon hours tomorrow. Let's say after the lunch hour. That higher, slight 2 out of 5 risk is going to be mostly over our Pine Belt counties, but there's going to be a marginal risk for the rest of us. The amount of rain, most of us about a ½ inch to an inch, but it's those Delta counties where it's been raining for most of the afternoon and evening that could get even more heavy rain through the overnight. They could pick up 2 to 3 inches or more, and so there's going to be a flash flooding risk there. Front doesn't come through until late tomorrow, so tonight and during the day tomorrow, temperatures are still going to be very warm. 60s overnight tonight, 70s tomorrow, even in the Pine Belt, because the front won't come there until, remember, after the sun goes down, or about the time the sun goes down. We could still even make it into the low 80s for highs. And you can imagine temperatures in the low 80s, very high dew points. That's the reason those storms can refire in the afternoon, especially over the southeastern part of the state. So after tomorrow, temperatures do drop sharply. We're looking at a high temperature of 60 Wednesday, and then only in the 50s for highs for Thanksgiving and for Black Friday. We start to recover a little bit over the weekend, but it's still going to be a chilly weekend with temperatures in the 60s for highs and 40s for lows. Thursday and Friday, though, lows are going to be in the mid-30s. We'll take a look at that in just a second. First, though, again, here's the storm moving through tonight. We're going to see another cold front immediately following that, and then high pressure is going to come in. Winds are going to pick up from the northwest. Temperatures drop, and that's going to be our big weather story at the end of the week. It's how chilly it's going to be. We're actually going to be close to freezing, I think, by Friday morning. So Tuesday's going to be a stormy day, dry weather Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then the next storm will begin to move in over the weekend. Now Saturday, I think we're looking at just spotty showers. Most of the rain with that next system we're targeting for Sunday and Monday. So Saturday overall looks okay at this point. Definitely if you're making plans, that may be the better day of the weekend. And certainly Thanksgiving looks good. Friday looks good. It's just going to be sunny but cold. So we got to stay weather aware for the rest of tonight. We're going to see thunderstorms overnight. Some of them are likely going to be severe. There's a 70% chance of rain. Temperatures are going to stay in the mid-60s, and winds at the surface coming in from the south. And then for tomorrow, we're going to see those storms redeveloping, in the afternoon, mostly to the south and to the east of us. Got to get some water. Before the front comes in, the high temperature at 77 degrees, and once again about a 70% chance of rain. So here's a look at our next 8 days, and after the storms Tuesday, sun comes back, but temperatures are going to be cold. Look at the morning temperatures, and the coldest is going to be Friday morning. Now, why is that important? Friday is Black Friday, and a lot of folks tend to get up early to do that shopping on Black Friday. In fact, even before the sun comes up. Just letting you know, if you do, you're going to have to wear some layers Friday morning because we're looking at temperatures now just barely above freezing at about 34 degrees. Some places may even be a little bit colder than that, especially the farther north you live. So just keep that in mind if you're planning to be out and about early Friday morning. We do recover back up to 57 Friday afternoon. And then, again, we're back in the 60s over the weekend, but looking at low to mid-60s, clouds increasing, and some rain coming back for Sunday and Monday. Right now, a little bit too early to talk about severe weather with that rain, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We've got storms obviously coming in for tonight. So here's the plan. Meteorologist Roberto Zamora and I are going to be here through this evening into the overnight watching the storms, and meteorologist Gracie Morris and Megan Hanna are going to be here early tomorrow morning through midday tomorrow. Then Roberto and I will be back in the afternoon. So we've got you covered. We're going to be here watching these storms, and if anything happens, we are going to let you know as soon as we do. We'll break into programming, and we will cover the storms appropriately. So just keep watching the space for more updates. As things happen, we're going to be posting that to our X accounts and on social media on Facebook. So give us a follow. You see my Facebook and X is Ken South WJTV. But you can search for any of us. Roberto Zamora, Gracie Morris, Austin Powell, and Megan Hanna are the other members of our team. Search for any of those on social media. Follow those so you can get updates from each one of us about what's going to happen not only tonight, but as we get through the rest of severe weather season. This is really just the beginning of it. This is kind of our fall severe weather season. Never really ends, though, once we get into it. So there could be severe weather. We're talking about over about probably the next 6 months or so, off and on. Usually we're in our severe weather season until about the middle of May, and then, of course, we warm up, and it's not as much of an issue anymore. But just important to know where to get updates and where to get warnings over the next several months, and you can do that by following us on Facebook and on X. And of course, if something happens, tune us in on Channel 12, and we will be here to get you through the storms. All right, that is it for your update for this evening. We're going to have more updates. Again, all of us will be here. I'm not sure who's going to be the next one to do Facebook Live, but one of us will do it as we get into the day tomorrow. All right, be safe, everybody. Hope everything works out fine, and everybody has a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon.